It was just a beautiful growth. It was like somebody had dropped some seeds in the grass, and from there on, they just grew and spread. And it was the kind of seed that would take.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's not a seed that if it rained too hard, it might drown it, or it was a seed that would take.
I came into the nation in 1958, and the first first time I heard about a Muslim was on my street when Brother Joseph X him and his mother was fighting in the street, basically because he had thrown her ham out in the garbage when he first heard the teachings. She beat him with a bat, and the police was called and everything, you know, and I said, well, what's wrong with him? He threw Miss Lorraine ham in the garbage. I said, oh, goodness. I said, well, why he do that? Because he's in that religion. And they crazy.
Back in maybe 51, 52, we had a barber shop on the corner, 25th and Harlem. The barber name was Charlie Sims, Brother Charlie.
He had just come out of jail.
Mm-hmm.
He had been in jail with the messenger in Washington, D.C. And Charlie came north, came to Philadelphia, and he started his barbershop. And that's when we first heard about Islam. You know, it was inspiring. It was interesting, and so every night we would go and listen to Charlie talk.
They might be in there cutting hair, but they in there preaching Islam, and their method of it, and their interpretation of it, you know.
So, you know, we little jitterbugs, and we look at these brothers and, oh man, these guys are communists, you know. Because communism was prevalent at that time, at the witch hunt.
But the barbershop got too small. Then we went to Garvey's Hall. Garvey's Hall sometimes didn't have heat in the wintertime. So we found a place on Bailey Street. And we bragged about it because we got a hall that we can have meetings in. And upstairs there's a dining area where we can, you know, sell dinners and everything. So we opened the ears and the minds of a lot of people in that neighborhood. A lot of people in that neighborhood.
It goes way back. Let me say how it really started. Norris started telling me about the temple. Then David had went one time and Edward had went. Eventually I went there. And when I went there, Kamal Majed was teaching. I don't know whether you've heard him or not, but he was one of the most organized teacher or speaker that I've ever heard. And after about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I was hooked because the brotherhood was so strong.
So we were learning Islam, and I'm going through this thing about, do I want to be a Muslim? I'm thinking about I can't mess with no more girls, I can't do this, I can't do that. And it really traumatized me and all. In fact, we worked in a marijuana house where they bought the bags of marijuana and put it on the coffee table, and all we had to do was roll the joints, you know, to sell. We could smoke all the joints we want. We weren't getting paid, but we was getting high, you know, and I mean, the coffee table was piled up like that, and we'd be in there all day rolling joints and all like that. And one of our games, we had guns, and we used to take a gun and put one bullet in the chamber, and we hide. We spin it, you know.
Russian roulette.
Yeah, Russian roulette.
When my friend and I would come out of school, it was a brother, and we used to always want to talk with him. So he sold a Pittsburgh Courier, and he would tell us to read this and turn to the page where the messenger would have his message in the Pittsburgh Courier. But we would just save our little money to buy the paper because it was a cute brother, you know. So that was how we started getting information about the nation and about Islam.
The night I wasn't with them, my best friend, brother Robert Carter, they was playing Russian roulette and the bullet got him. Bang! And when I found out about it, I went home and I prayed. I prayed to Allah. I said, oh Allah, you know, save his life and I'll be a Muslim. So I stopped doing all that stuff, you know. Robert Carter had that bullet in his head from 1953 all the way up until about 3 years ago. So that's how I became a Muslim, really. Because seriously, I didn't want to give up drinking and smoking and all that other stuff I was doing.
But they came into the temple, man, and just clean up. That's how I show you how strong that teaching was, man. No, what you call it, the rehab? None of that kind of stuff. The rehab was coming to the temple.
Really, the unity that was among the believers was the thing that attracted me the most because they were so close. I mean, the Muslims, to me then, they didn't want to be apart. Everything that they did, it was to be together. Monday was FOI night. Then on Tuesday was Unity night. And Unity night, we would have like, we do quizzes together. Imam Wabasti Muhammad would fix a pot of chili. Then Wednesday was the regular meeting night. Thursday was MGT night. Friday was another meeting night. And Saturday we would end up at the Now restaurant down the 60th and Chestnut with Sister Sadie and Brother John. And after we finished, but we just always wanted to be around each other.
And you know, you had that neighborhood thing during that time. If you were from the neighborhood, you was cool. If you walk out of the neighborhood, you got a problem. But yet we had a group that could go anywhere because we had that strength. We knew that we had somebody had our back, the whole bit. So I think that's the thing that brought me in so closely with the temple.
We would sit up all night when Malcolm was here. We sit up all night talking. We had a Unity house, a fruit house on 2503 Oxford Street, a big house. And that's where Malcolm would stay, you know, and all the brothers would come there. And when we get off from work, we would go, you know, everybody go over to the house, the Unity house, and we eat. And then we would just sit up all night. We weren't tired, you know, because we was young anyway. Then we would go to the temple, set the temple up, get the temple ready, fish and all like that. After the meetings was over, then we come back to the house and sit around and talk. And next thing we know, it's time to go to work. Hardly getting any sleep.
When I talked to friends, they asked me about the nation. That struck me was when they spoke about how to eat to live. For something reason, and I thought to myself, oh, that's interesting that a religion would teach you how to eat, because I come from the church. I was raised in a Christian church, and it was always about fried chicken and a whole lot of eating, you know. So I followed carefully. When they said fast 3 days out of each month, I study alternative healing. So I have had no sick days. I take no medicine from nothing. Harold takes no medicine. He's 75 in a few months. I'm 71 in a few months. If it wasn't for the nation, if we was eating like a lot of people out here, we wouldn't be where we're at. You know what I mean? And when I found out...
I don't think I'd be alive.
Me either.
No,
Me either.
I was on the wrong track. I know it.
Especially with the diet thing.
But health was something that was the #1 priority in the Nation of Islam. We had nurses that taught us about how to take care of our bodies, how to take care of our children, and we had all this information that was available to us. And this is what was taught in the MGT classes.
Yeah, it's a Muslim girl training. You learn some of everything in it. Everything.
How to eat,
How to
what to eat, what
yeah.
not to eat.
And how to care for yourself as an individual. You know, it just teaches you some of everything. Excellent.
Cooking, sewing, how to act at home and abroad, and extra stuff, knitting and crocheting and all kinds of things. It kept you busy. It kept you busy, so you really didn't have time to really get into any mess. as I'll say, that came later years.
I remember one particular night, Brother Jeremiah, Brother Malcolm, just me, we stayed up all night talking and learning strategy and psychology and all this about how to get our people and how to talk to them and all. Then we had to take classes. We had some of our brothers would go to Dale Carnegie Institute to learn how to win friends and influence people and talk to people, you know. Also, you know, how to handle the people coming into the temple at that time, you know, all these different personalities and how to get them in unison, you know, and how to work as a group and how to advance, you know, the nation at that time.
Yes, the fishing is when we go out in groups, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of us. We go out in groups and we see, just like the Jehovah's Witness, we see people talking to them and so forth, and they say, "Oh yeah, I heard about it," and we invite them if they'd like to come. I don't know, you know, man, maybe you catch me another time. And you make it a point to try to go back and catch them another time, and sometimes they start coming.
And we just moving and fishing and bringing people in, and we were growing. The nation was really growing.
We were moving, man. We were moving, and we were moving not like it was a burden. We was moving like it was a pleasure.
Yeah, but we survived and we're growing and we're going to continue to grow.
No other form of Islam, no Eastern form of Islam would have turned us around. He came, the messenger came with a message for the, what we would call the lost found nation, was lost and now found. The message was for us, and it proved to be for us, as far as I'm concerned, because we needed something special. We needed to be really woken up.
I think the Nation of Islam was a training time for us. You know, what I was going to say, you know, I'm not giving you the true religion. It'll come later on. Right now, I'm trying to clean you up. So I think the Nation of Islam actually cleaned us up in terms of brotherhood, in terms of discipline, in terms of eating the right food and that kind of stuff. That was cleaning up. In fact, we had Ramadan like once a year. It was in December, you know. That wasn't orthodox.
So my coming into Islam was really a blessing for me. And it wasn't the religious thing per se, because when you're young, religion is not the thing in mind, you know. But later on, you realize it is the teaching of the religion that has caused you to really start making changes and take it serious and be more adult.
For the most part, I've been living a real clean life, you know, and that just helped me, because I was just getting ready to get into something, into that, you know, that street thing when I came to the temple, you know. Just getting ready to get into it. And I was saved by the Nation of Islam, you know, saved.
I didn't even know what to think at 14 when Emmett Till was killed. I can't remember my thoughts, you know, just what, I didn't know what to think, other than these people are really cruel, you know. I didn't have any significant deep thoughts on it. I couldn't analyze it the way I want, other than maybe that's the way it's supposed to be before I come in, you know. Yeah. But brother, when I come in and the man laid it down, I saw the picture clear, and I'm still waking up. I'm still waking up.
Oh, yeah.
Even at my age, I'm still seeing clear.